I'm in assembly 1. We see that? Yep. All right. You'll notice that the tools up here look very different. And one of the buttons is insert. We see that? Yeah. And if you click on insert, what you'll notice is that there's a tab that says current document. One of the advantages of making all of your parts in the same document is that they'll show up in this first tab. And they'll be constantly updated. And I'm going to prove this to you in a moment. Okay, I'm going to prove this to you in a moment. You're in much better shape if you use parts that are in the same document. You don't have to, though. There is other documents. We see that. There is other documents. Okay, so you could pull things from other documents. It just won't update as well. And then there's part 1 and part 2. So what you can do is you can click and you can place these over here. Yeah? Yeah. Okay. You can click and place those. Are we good so far? All right. I want to show you one of the advantages of doing this in current document. What color are these? Blue. They're the default blue? Yeah? Watch this. I'm going to go here and I'm going to edit the appearance. Okay, so I right click on the part, edit appearance. What color should I pick? Any color, boys?
Purple.
Purple. Good choice. So I made it purple. I go back to the assembly and notice how it changed and made it purple. We see that? So it will update your parts. And it does this very well when you have them in the same file. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these parts and I'm going to position them correctly so they're locked together the way that they would be if they were actually assembled as part of the cube. I think a lot of you may have already tried this and you kind of were like doing this kind of thing where you were like manually moving them around. Yeah, how many of you were doing that? Yeah, a few of you. I have a few in my engineering class as well. Okay. You can certainly do that, but you're never going to get lined up perfectly, right? Like it's just never going to be, there's going to always be these little gaps. It's never going to be perfect. What we want to do is we want to get it to be perfect. I'm going to show you how to do that today. So I want you to pick 2 parts that you are intent on joining together, okay? Pick 2 and stick with those 2, okay? There are these options up here, and I'm going to show you just one of them today. Let me ask you a philosophical question. How many dimensions do we live in? This is not a trick question.
3.
Okay, we have 3 spatial dimensions, right? You can go up and down, left or right, backwards and forwards. In math class, we'd say x-axis, y-axis, z-axis. Yes, yeah? So here's the thing. In order to lock 2 pieces together, you need 3 constraints. How many?
3.
3. 1 for each dimension. Does that make sense? Yeah? Yeah? So what we're going to do here is we're going to use, and there's all these different mates here, but I want you to hover over the one that's called planar mate. It's got like 4 arrows. We see that? Planar mate, we see it? Okay, planar mate is when you take 2 surfaces and you force them to be lined up. You understand? That's a planar mate. Now, I can do this 2 different ways. Let's say I want to line these things up. Okay? So I got 2 edges here. I'm touching with my fingers. I want to mate together. Here's a way I could do it, right? You see that? But this also would be a way. We see the difference here, though, yeah? Okay? This kind of like makes them like flush with each other, yeah? Whereas this is like really pushing them against each other. Here's another thing that's tricky. This is also a mate. Because they're sharing the same plane. Do we see that? They're free to move in the other 2 directions. I can move them this way. I can move them this way. But if I pull them apart, I've broken the mate. We understand? So you're going to have to apply 3 mates. 1 for each dimension. You need to really pay attention to which direction you're applying the mate. I would remind you that one thing that may help you is to use your view cube. Click on something like right, okay? All right. If I kind of tilt it a little bit at an angle, If I mate them on these surfaces, here and here, that's going to constrain them in that one dimension, right? And then I have to go look at, like, say, the front part of the cube, pick on two surfaces, look at the top part, pick on two surfaces, okay? You're going to have pairs of surfaces, and they got to all be in different orientations or axes. So we've clicked on the planar mate, yep, and it says, uh-oh, did the mouse die? Spooky. So we picked up the planar mate circumstance, and I guess I'm using a touchpad. Unfortunate. What we're going to do is we're going to click on two surfaces, one in each shape. So I'm going to click on this surface here. Okay? Don't click on a corner or an edge. Make sure that you're clicking on a surface. Look where my cursor is. I'm over the surface. We see that? Yes? Very important. It should highlight the entire edge of that surface. Don't be on an edge or a corner, because then you're mating an edge or corner. So I'm over a surface. I'm going to click once. Notice that it added that to the mate connectors. And then I'm going to move my camera around, and I'm going to click on this surface. Now, I don't know what shapes you have, but hopefully you know how those shapes are supposed to attach to each other. Yes, yeah? And so you should be picking two surfaces that would be touching each other. We're good? Yeah? Yeah. And then I click the green check mark. Notice how these blocks are before I click it. You watching? Notice how they are after I click it. So in my case, they didn't move. That was the first mate though. I'm warning you, you need to trust me on this. Once you've already applied a mate, and especially once you've applied two mates, the preview may look horrifically wrong. But if you click the green check mark to commit it, you may find it's exactly what you want. Are we good? Maybe, hopefully, possibly. So what I'm going to do to prove what this did here, I'm going to click and drag this part. I'm going to get out of this. I don't want to do another mate right now. So make sure you're Xing out of this, because I'm trying to click on these to move them. And if I still had that tool up, then it'd be applying more mates. So I'm going to click on this, and you'll notice that I'm able to move it up and down. You see that? I can move it up and down. If I click on the front, I can move it this way, right? I can slide it this way. But what I cannot do is I cannot pull it away from the blue shape. That's what the mate did. We good so far? Yes? Yeah. Do you have any questions before we move on? Yes, sir.
It won't let me move my.
Well, then bring your thing here.
How do you change color?
You already have some mates applied.
Right.
So that's what those are. Right? I just did a mate, right? Oh, I like. Those are the ones. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
You already applied them. See that? So I can move it like this, but I can't split them apart. Were you trying to split them apart?
No, it's trying to move it down.
No.
For some reason.
Well, I think I might have hit a lag stop actually. I would encourage you to use the mouse. But when I use these touchpads with CAD, I always use G. That's a click and split.
That's
Like, this is like the split and selection.
What do you mean?
That's how I use touchpad. I'm just encouraging you some more. But I would encourage you to get a mouse. You do you though. All right. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to line up this surface right here with this surface right there. Yes, yeah, we understand? Ready? You watching? So I'm going to click on the mate tool again, the planar mate tool. It's right there, 4 arrows. And I'm going to click on this surface. Yeah? And then I'm going to click on this surface. Now, in this little preview thing, don't do anything, just watch. You'll notice that there's this flip primary axis. If it seems to be making them touch when you actually want them flush, or the opposite, they're flush and you actually want them to touch, that's what you click to change it. But the computer is kind of smart, and so sometimes it realizes that you want it to be flush rather than actually touching. And that's what it seemed to do here. So I am not going to clip on this flip primary axis. I'm just letting you know that it's there, okay? Because by the time you get to the second mate, it's possible that you might have to use that, all right? I am not having to use it, though. I'm just going to click on the green check mark, and it seemed to work out pretty good, okay? It seemed to realize I wanted a flush mate. Are we good? Yeah? Yeah? So I'm going to exit out of this tool again for demonstration purposes. I'm able to move this part up and down, but I can no longer move it side to side because that flush mate made these two flush, so I can only now move this part up and down. I've constrained it in 2 dimensions. It's only free in the 3rd dimension. We understand? Yeah? Mm-hmm. So the last mate I need to do, I have some choices here. I could make these two to be flush with each other, or I could do the bottom. I could make these two flush with each other. And I'm going to do that. I'm going to go to planar mate, and I'm going to click on the bottoms. Make sure you're clicking on surfaces, not edges or corners. Now, this is where I said the preview looks trash. That preview does not look like what I want at all. But just trust, I'm going to click on the green check mark. And you know what? It actually worked out beautifully. We understand? Mm-hmm. So usually the first mate, the preview's fine. But by the 3rd mate, it's almost always wrong. And second, it's hit or miss. These 2 pieces are now joined together. I cannot move one without moving the other. It's not possible. I have constrained it in 3 different dimensions. It took 3 mates. We understand? Yes, say yeah? Mm-hmm. Now, I'm going to make a recommendation. You do you. Do you remember how we named the parts of the cat? Remember that? Yeah. Remember that? Okay, I want you to use some logic here. If there are 7 pieces in your puzzle cube, how many mates will you need?
21?
No. It's close, but no.
7.
No.
24.
What?
21.
It's not a bad guess, but no.
24?
No. No. How many pieces do I have right now?
27. Oh, no.
How many pieces do I have right now? How many pieces do I got?
Can you flip to the side?
Huh? How many pieces do I have right now?
2.
2. How many mates do I use? If I were to add a 3rd piece, how many more mates would I need?
3 more.
I need 3 more. A 4th piece, I would need 3 more, right? If I had just 1 piece, how many mates would I need?
0.
0, right? So how many mates do I need per piece?
18.
Yeah, I would need 18 because you need 3 mates for each piece past the first, right? Make sense? So if I have 7 pieces, that means I gotta mate 6 of them to something else. 3 mates per piece, 3 times 6 is 18. Guys, that's a lot of mates. My recommendation over here, I would right click and I would rename these. There's different naming schemes, but I could call this 2A, 2B, and 2C. You could even do 2X, Y, and Z, but you'd have to pay attention to which axis you'd mated them, and that's a lot. So I have instructed people in the past to do that, but what I found was they did it wrong. So then it did more harm than good. So I would just label them 2A, B, and C. And then when you bring in your 3rd part, all of those mates would be 3A, B, and C. Make sense? Yes or yeah? And then you at least know if I need to fix a part maybe what mates to go with. This is not a perfect system, but it's not the worst system. Okay? The best thing you could do though, apply your 3 mates to the same one piece, lock it in place, then move on to the next piece. Sound good? Yes or yeah?
Yeah.
I would not mate one piece with one mate and then bring in another piece and then try to go back and figure out what mates you need for the first. Like I wouldn't do that. Okay? I would do 3 mates per piece, lock them in 100% one at a time in order. Are we good?
Yes.
If you have not colored your shapes, I encourage you to do that. Remember, I showed you this, I proved this. You can go to the part and you can edit it. I'm doing appearance, but you could actually edit other aspects of it as well. We'll update it here. Okay. Any questions? Okay, I'm going to let you all work. I'm going to let you all work.